leave the lights off. The lights off. I'm going to leave the lights off because lights add heat, which we don't need. You know, it's quite warm enough. But can you see me? I can't see you, but that's normal. Do you remember what we did yesterday? About donkey's years. Yeah. What's the alternative to saying donkey's years?
Ages.
Yeah. Preposition?
For ages.
For a long time, for ages. Can you give me a sentence?
I didn't see him for ages.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I lived there for ages. I've worked here for ages. It takes ages to...
To do something.
Yes, I was trying to avoid saying that, but yes, you're probably right. It takes ages to learn English. Okay, so let's move on. Today, by the way, is going to be the hottest day of the year in Britain.
Over the century.
Huh?
Over the century.
The hottest day in Britain ever. Well, since records began, I'm sure there were hotter days 500 million years ago, but the hottest day since records began. Okay. So what's this?
Swiss champ knife.
Andreas, do you know what that is? It's a knife, yeah. We call it a Swiss Army knife. Is anybody here Swiss?
Swiss Army, or you can say also Swiss champ.
We don't, no, we say Swiss Army knives, or you can say penknife. A penknife. And it's popular because it has lots of different devices.
How did you say hottest day since records
began? It's very useful. It's very useful. It's useful if you are at the top of a Swiss Alp with a bottle of wine and no bottle opener. It's useful if you are on a horse and the horse has a stone in its foot. It's useful if you meet a mad man and you want to fight him. It's useful if you want to cut something.
There's not a cut. The cut is the other one.
These scissors. This is a
No, scissors are...
scissors.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is this? What you showed just now? What is this?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. This is a bottle opener if you're at the top of a Swiss mountain with a bottle of beer.
No.
And no.
No, the bottle over there, that one.
Okay. Okay. If you are Swiss, it's obviously very useful. Okay. If you are a Swiss soldier, you fight with this. So it's obviously very useful in Switzerland. They have interesting lives, obviously, the Swiss. Today I'm going to talk about the word use. Use. Small word, lots of meanings. Use is a very useful word. It's a very useful word. So we're going to expand the word use today. So obviously, if I just pray the technology helps me today. Pray. Oh my God.
Let's pray again.
God.
You see? Swiss champ.
You call it a champ. Can you just discuss the present perfect continuous for 2 minutes? Yay! Hallelujah. We have it. I'm going to give it a heart because it's such a lovely word. You use the word use. Yeah, you use the word use in sentences, easy sentences like, do you use a microwave in your kitchen, or do you use a normal cooker? Do you use an Apple phone or,
Samsung.
thank you, the Samsung ones? Do you use dried pasta from Barilla, or do you use fresh pasta that you make yourself? Do you use a bicycle to get to work, or do you use public transport? You use in words like that. You have things that are useful, like Swiss Army knives. What's the opposite of useful? Useless, I love that. Useless. Useless. Can you use the word useless to describe a human being, a person, your boss, your friend, your husband? Can you?
Yes.
Yes. Will they like it? No. No. So do not say to your boss or to your wife or your husband or your friend, you are useless. It's very bad. But we can say, you know, she's useless at her job. She was a useless politician. I'm useless at mathematics. I'm useless at physics. When I was at school, I was useless at physics. I was very good at English, unsurprisingly, but I was useless at mathematics. What does that mean? What does it mean? I was bad, no talent, no ability. So it's quite normal to say, if you're talking about your ability, oh, she's useless at cooking. She's useless at French. She's useless at keeping relationships. So that's fine. Useless preposition? At. Useless at. Useless at. You can also say hopeless at. Useless at.
Useful at as well?
No.
Two.
No. It only works in the negative. You can't say she's useful at cooking. Not possible. But if you have a device or a piece of machinery that doesn't work properly, you say it's useless. It doesn't function well. So useless at and the gerund. Sorry?
When an engine, when I buy a newer engine, and the former engine is useless at the moment, that's right?
It would be redundant or useless.
It's redundant.
Redundant. Yeah. But this is a general sense of not good, broken, redundant, finished, it's a useless car because it doesn't work well. So useless at cooking, and I was and still am useless at maths. Useless at her job. It's quite strong. You use this with to make words that are very often quite negative.
There's no use.
Yeah. You would, if you're talking about the bad treatment of a child, the bad treatment of an animal, or the bad treatment of one person to another, a husband to his wife or a wife to his husband, you would use the word abuse, which doesn't sound like this, but is the same. Abuse or abuse? Abuse. Can you say it? Abuse. Yeah. So he abuses his wife. If you are very unkind to a child, like you are abusing your child. So what do you think is abusive language? Abusive language, what would that be? Sorry? Impolite language, rude language, using the F word, saying horrible things, bullying things to somebody. So can bosses be abusive to their workers? No. Can workers be abusive to their bosses?
No.
No, probably not. No, you should not be abusive at work. You should not be abusive anywhere. So verb, abuse. Adjective, abusive. Or abused. Abused. We have this in can you read what that says with my terrible domestic abuse. What is that? Domestic abuse. It's a crime. It's a crime in the family. Generally when the husband hits the wife or the wife hits the husband. You know, it's domestic abuse. But you can have animal abuse, child abuse. Child abuse is the other one. Oof, terrible things. Miserable thing to talk about on a lovely Thursday morning. Child abuse. What's that?
Reuse. It's like we use it again. Something that
Use again.
You use again, for example?
Recycle.
Recycling, upcycling, taking something and you know, we today in Britain we are encouraged not to use plastic bags, to use cloth bags. They are reusable. Reusable. And in the green agenda we have should we do it in green? Come on, technology. Love me. I love you, you love me. Oh. What did I do when I was what did I do in a previous life? And I think there's another one. So refuse, reuse, recycle, and reduce. This is what environmentally aware or green people would say in our world today. We need to refuse, no thank you, reuse things, reduce what we use, and recycle. These are very similar. So we've got reuse, huh?
C or
Reduce,
C
D.
or S.
C, reduce. Do you not understand reduce?
You do.
Yeah. Okay. So, talking about today being the hottest day in Britain since for ages, literally for ages, for a long, long time. It made me think about the difference between today and when I was a child. Because I am much older than you, all of you, much older, much older. I can remember the way things used to be. And when I was a child, we used to think temperatures of 26, 28 degrees in the summer was, yay, a good summer. We used to think a warm, cool, wet summer in Britain was normal. We never had fans. They were unnecessary. We never had plastic. We didn't used to have plastic. It was an unusual thing to have a world surrounded by plastic. So things have changed like that. And now in the new world, we all have to get used to the new normal. And the new normal is this, probably, unfortunately. And it will mean we have to get used to eating less meat. We have to get used to extreme weather temperatures. You, the young ones, the really young ones, you might possibly have to get used to eating insects. I do hope I'm dead when that happens. I'm sure insects are lovely, nutritious, crunchy, chocolate flavoured, in pasta sauce, but they are still insects. So I don't want them. But these are things you have to get used to. We are already in Britain getting used to long, hot summers and very mild winters. A mild winter is no snow, no freezing, no difference between the autumn and the winter and the spring, and then a long, hot summer. Last summer, it was very hot in Britain, and we had a very, very long, very hot summer, and this summer is summer. So there's lots of things to get used to. And I think getting used to things is dangerous, because it becomes normal.
Mm-hmm.
In Britain, in London in particular, in big cities, we are getting used to pollution, air pollution. Air pollution is invisible, usually. You can't see it. You read it in the paper, and the first year, oh, terrible, shocking. Second year, third year, you have got used to it, and it's the new normal. It's the new normal. Okay, so I'll stop depressing you now. What were the two structures I was using? What were the two structures I was using?
I used to.
Can you say get used to hot long summers? Hold on. Or not, I mean.
Can you finish that sentence?
Use the pen.
On n'est pas super bon.
Yeah, but can you finish it?
Use the pen.
Okay. We used to think a summer where it was 26 degrees was great, it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was young, summers were not hot. They were warm. And if you got to 26 or 28, it was like, way! Do you get 26 in Milan now? Oh. February, maybe. In February, okay. So we used to think, do I think this now? No. No. You use this structure for something that you believed, you did, you had in the past, but not now. For example, a very simple sentence, a lot of people, including me, used to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't smoke now. Unfortunately, I miss it so much. I used to have long hair. I used to have really, really long hair. I used to live outside London. Probably for a short period when I was 16, I used to be a communist. That didn't last. So this structure, past, yes, now, no.
Mm-hmm.
Spain. Anybody Spanish here? Spain used to have a dictatorship. France. Anybody French? Uh-huh. France used to have a monarchy. No monarchy. What was the other structure?
I'm used
To get used.
Yeah. Come on. Can you finish it?
Used to. Used to
Fact.
eating okay. These are noun phrases. Eating, having, seeing, thinking, being, extreme weather, pollution. I am used to, I will get used to, we have to get used to. I'll give you another example. In London at the moment, we have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of homeless people in the street. It's very difficult for me to get used to it, get used to seeing it, because it's very strange for me, it's horrible. But you do get used to seeing homeless people everywhere. But it's new. So when you get used to something, or when you are used to something, is that good or bad? Or neutral? It's neutral, yeah, it depends. It means it becomes normal. It's normalizing, or you are accustomed to it. I imagine you now, it's Thursday, you are now used to hearing English every day. Are you used to travelling on the tube? You get used to travelling on the tube. You have to get used to it. You have to get used to travelling on the tube. So these two structures, study them. They look they look similar. They're not. They're different. This is about the past. I used to have long hair. I used to be a hippie. I used to think Mao Zedong was great, stuff like that. Used to, and then the gerund, used to think, no gerund, used to, with the gerund, means becoming accustomed to it. Do you like your new job? I'm getting used to it. Do you like your new boss? I'm getting used to him. We have a new Prime Minister. We have to get used to our new Prime Minister. It's going to be fun. He's a comedian. Any questions, anybody? Well, I hope you have a very useful day.
Do you have the plural for summer? I mean,
Summer.
for summer, yes. 2 hot, long summers.
Summers, yeah, summers. One summer, 2 summers.